Semi-final week and final week for the matter. The tournament is down to the last four, and for the first time in World Cup history, the first time ever, all four semi-finalists are the top four ranked teams in the world. France, Argentina, Spain, England. FIFA's world number 1, 2, 3, 4. All alive. All playing this week for a spot in the final, and then of course the final on Sunday/Monday morning here in Bangkok. That's what happens when a tournament actually rewards the best. You would think. But hey, no conspiracies here on this podcast. Maybe. But let's be honest, most World Cups don't do that. Usually there's a shock semi-finalist like Croatia in 2018, Morocco 2022, South Korea back then in 2002, for example. But not this time. The bracket has done what you wanna say a strict seeding tournament would produce, which means from here on, whoever wins this actually deserves to win it. Unless you really look into how the past looked like, right? But again, not going into conspiracies, at least the one thing we can say, whoever makes it to the final now deserves it, right? So at least now in the semi-final, there is no easy way left. So what we will see is France versus Spain on Tuesday, Bangkok time, I believe, in Dallas, and Argentina versus England on Wednesday morning here in Bangkok, in Atlanta. Both are massive on paper and both are stacked with narrative. Yeah, Bellingham versus Messi, Mbappé versus Yamal, the rematch of 1986 in the same country Maradona did the hand of God to Peter Shilton. The rematch of 2022 between France and Argentina, if the bracket holds, of course. Also this weekend, this is the coach's eye fact of the tournament, I'm going to spend real time on it. Every team that has shot first in a World Cup penalty shootout this tournament has lost. 4-4. And in the last 15 international shootouts, I believe, 13 of the 15 teams going first also lost. Yeah, Germany went first, lost. Netherlands went first, lost. Australia went first, lost. Colombia went first. You name it. That's not coincidence. And when you look at the wider trend, that the last, like I said here, the last 13 World Cup shootouts before this one, teams going first have won 2. That's like 15%. So historically it was 49%. So something has fundamentally shifted in how penalty shootouts work, and coaches who don't understand it are going to keep losing them. So we're going to spend a whole segment on this. Plus, I mean, the quarterfinals were kind of dramatic. Bellingham scored twice against Norway, including one that Norway's Manchester City was affected by, and I quote, a cable falling from the sky. We saw that. Argentina came back from 2-0 down against Egypt with 12 minutes to play. Spain conceded their first goal of the tournament in a Merino winner against Belgium, and France did what France does, dispatched Morocco in the same 2-0 scoreline they used in 2022. Still, the only team at this World Cup to have won every match in 90 minutes. I'm Sasha, 20 years coaching teams, but this is Tactic, the show where we watch sport the way a coach watches it. Let's go. All right, let's quickly recap the quarterfinal, because you've all seen it, heard it, and so on. But a quick tour through the 8 teams that were and now the 4 that are. So France, Morocco 2-0, rematch of 2022 semifinal, which France won 2-0. This time France won again 2-0. Same scoreline, different tournament. Mbappé scored, assisted. Olise picked up a yellow card. That means if he gets another one in the semifinal against Spain, he's suspended for a potential final. That's interesting. France is now the only team in the tournament that has won all 5 of the matches in 90 minutes. Every other semi-finalist has needed extra time somewhere in the knockouts. France has just been very methodical, right? Deschamps has done this usual thing, win the group, win the knockouts, don't attract attention too much, then in the semifinals, as this is always the plan. Now I'm saying don't attract too much attention, they play very well, they play very attacking, which is very nice, but like nothing that you're not used from France, so they didn't change anything crazy. For Morocco, I think decent tournament, back-to-back World Cups reaching final 8. They are definitely now a top tier in the national side. The project's working. They go home not as a fairy tale they were in 2022, but as an established quarterfinal team, which is, if you're Morocco, quite a big achievement. Then we had Spain 2, Belgium 1. The one where the record broke. Spain had gone into the quarterfinal on a run of 6 consecutive World Cup clean sheets, dating back to the group stage. They conceded to Belgium. Their record ends, but they still won. The story here is Merino, same guy who scored the 91st minute winner against Portugal in the round of 16, same guy who scored against Belgium now. Now, substitute midfielder becoming Spain's clutch time player of the tournament. That's coaching depth. Yeah, De La Fuente knows he can bring Merino on a tight match and something might happen, and it keeps happening. Belgium's tournament ends here, and I want to acknowledge they answered the Bellingham controversy with actual football. It was great, beat the US 4-1 in the round of 16, fought Spain to the last minute in the quarter. Kevin De Bruyne played his final World Cup match, and Rudi Garcia's project didn't win, but Belgium walked out of this tournament having earned their spot, I think. We had England-Norway 2-1 in extra time. This is the match I was most looking forward to, and it delivered. It produced also the weirdest single incident of the tournament. First, we had Skjellerup putting Norway ahead in the first half, then Bellingham equalizing just before the break, and this is where the strangeness begins, right? A cable had apparently become loose from a sky cam above the pitch, and yeah, the ball that was like kicked by the goalie fell and changed direction. And now some pundits call it the cable of God, like a callback to Maradona's hand of God, which was also against England. Was it? England was involved. I forgot. I'm German. I'm joking. I will never forget the hand of God. But yeah, it's of course an interesting comparison. England took extra time. Belgium scored again in extra time to make it 2-1. England win. And then, and that's the interesting part, England manager Thomas Tuchel, right, called the win, quote, lucky and sloppy. So the own manager, after a quarterfinal win, he kind of like criticized a little bit, like at least like held, tried to hold them accountable. Bellingham then in the mixed zone after responded to that criticism, accountability with a one word, whatever. Okay, the one word several times. Afterwards, he also said that he doesn't think that Tuchel has played in such situations before. That's some very interesting coach-player tension going into a semi-final. And Tuchel is doing the German thing, publicly critical to keep expectations sharp, and Bellingham is doing the young star thing, dismissive of criticism because, well, hey, we won. Neither of them is wrong, but this is going to be a story of England draws with Argentina and doesn't win convincingly, I think. Also, just a mention here, they only played part of Tuchel's media answer to Bellingham, because in the same sentence Tuchel actually said, like, yeah, it wasn't great, we were lucky and sloppy, but it's not a mentality problem. Our mentality you could sell in bottles, it's that good. But of course Bellingham did not hear that. Now Norway goes home after the game, but they go home as the dark horse story. Okay, knocked out, but they also knocked out Brazil, took England to extra time. Haaland finishing on, I think, 7 goals. Odegaard is one of the best number 10s of the tournament. So my pre-tournament dark horse pick paid off. Norway are a real football nation again, so well done, congratulations. Then the last one was Argentina 3, Switzerland 1 in extra time. The other extra time match, and McAllister put Argentina ahead early on in the 10th. Then we had Ndoye equalizing in the 67th. And going on to extra time, Switzerland then went down to 10 men, which can only be described as one of those, I don't want to say stupid, but not smart yellow-red cards in history. You've seen it. Yeah, it was like because of a dive. Why would you do that, right? Okay, down to 10, going to extra time. Then we had, I think, Álvarez scoring in the 112th. And then we had, I think, also Martinez in stoppage time of the extra time. So now Argentina are in the 6th consecutive World Cup semi-final. 6. And that's a run that few countries in football history have ever achieved. And this Argentina team, and I checked it, 30 years and 173 days average age, second oldest they ever fielded, is doing it while grinding through matches, right? Cabo Verde 3-2, Egypt 3-2 from 2-0 down with 12 minutes left. Switzerland 3-1 in extra time. Not dominant, not efficient, just finding a way. And that's the story of this Argentina, right? Messi is now 39, is he? Still one of the best players in the world, sure, but he needs rest. Álvarez returned to the team via the 112-minute strike is one of the storylines of this one, I think. Argentina found a way not just to rely on Messi. The team is aging and it's fighting and they're alive. For Switzerland, deep run for a nation that hasn't reached a World Cup quarterfinal since, and I also had to look this up, 1954. So 72 years they're going home, but the tournament was pretty significant. So good job on that. Okay, now the coach's eye segment, because the fun fact my feed told me, it's actually one of the biggest things happening in football right now, and nobody's really talking about it. So never shoot first, right? So let it out plainly, okay? So at this World Cup, 4 penalty shootouts have happened, and every single one the team that shot first lost. Germany, Paraguay. Germany won the coin toss, shot first. Harvards missed the first penalty. Germany lost. Netherlands, Morocco. Netherlands shot first. Netherlands lost. Egypt, Australia. Australia shot first. Australia lost. Switzerland, Colombia. You see it. 4-4-4. Every team that has taken the first penalty in the tournament has been eliminated by it. Now to the historical trend, because that's the number that made me say that, because 4-4 sample is small enough that you could just dismiss it as a fluke. But according to Opta Joe, credible football stat account, as you might know, it's going back further. The team going first has won just 2 of the last, I think, 15 World Cup penalty shootouts. Also, that's 13. I think 15 shootouts, 13, they lost 15%. 1 out of every 6 or 7. Before that 13 shooter run, the split was almost exactly even. 17 of the first 35 shootouts were won by the team going first. 49%. Coin flip. So something has changed. Something in the past 10 years of tournament football has shifted the outcome of penalty shootouts from a genuine coin flip to a serious disadvantage for the team going first. So now what changed and why? Let me tell you my coach's eye read on why this happened, because I think it's important and I don't think anyone is coaching around it yet. Step number 1. Modern goalkeepers, they do way more research. 20 years ago, a goalkeeper faced a penalty shootout with limited data. Maybe they'd seen a few of the opponent's players take penalties in the tournament, not much else. Yet today, goalkeepers have detailed research files on every likely taker's preferences. Which corner they favor, whether they change their run-up, whether they respond to eye contact, whether they wait for the whistle. It's a massive advantage for the goalkeeper who's defending first. The team shooting first is walking into a research trap. Number 2, shooting first now creates unusual pressure. A traditional theory says the team shooting first has the advantage because they're setting the scoreboard. If you score, you put the pressure on the opponent to match you. The problem? Modern professional footballers at the World Cup are used to pressure. They're used to being expected to score. What they're not used to is the pressure of chasing, of needing to score just to keep the scoreboard level. So the team shooting second has a natural framing like, I need to match my counterpart, which is identical to how they experience club level pressure. The team shooting first has, I need to score to give my team the lead, which is a different kind of pressure and, crucially, one they rarely practice. And number 3, sudden death changes the math backwards. If you go to 5 penalties each and they're all scored, you're 5-5 and it goes to sudden death. Statistically, the team that shot first in the first 5 now shoots first in sudden death too. And in sudden death, going first is definitely worse, because if you miss, the other team just needs to score to win. And there's no chance for you to force another round. Germany and Tar just experienced this exact scenario, right? So what could coaches then do about it? So here's my coach's action item, and I mean this quite seriously. If your captain wins the coin toss before a penalty shootout, they should choose to shoot second, right? That is the correct decision right now. It's been the correct decision for at least the last decade, and most coaches are still telling their captains to pick first because tradition says the team going first has an advantage. Tradition is wrong. The data says tradition is wrong. And the coaches who don't adjust are going to keep losing shootouts. The other adjustment, practice the second shooter scenario in training. The first shooter scenario, you're leading off, no scoreboard pressure yet, is easier to simulate. Every training session gives you that, sure. The second shooter scenario is harder because you're always practicing in isolation. So teams need to deliberately create a scenario in training where the goalkeeper's team just scored and you have to match it. That's where the misses happen. That's what needs reps. If you're a national team coach, and there are several listening to the show apparently, this is a very concrete thing you could work in the next years. It's not sexy, it's not a formation change, it's not a new signing, it's a preparation adjustment. And it might win your World Cup. There are a few who already know though. Belgium, for example. They won their only World Cup shootout against Japan in 2018, and they've been consistently good at penalties. Croatia has won 4 out of 4 in their shootout history. England, after decades of being terrible at penalties, changed their approach under Southgate and started winning shootouts. Spain has 4 World Cup shootout losses out of 5. The worst record of any current top team. The pattern here is clear. Teams that treat penalty shootouts as a coachable skill, they win them. Teams that treat them as lottery, lose them. Germany just lost their first ever World Cup shootout, partly because they thought their tradition was enough. It wasn't. Practice that stuff. But hey, enough numbers. Let's talk about the semi-finals. Enough of analyzing. Let's see if we have to witness another terrible penalty shootout. Let's hope not. Because for the semis, those 2 matches, they're both massive. France versus Spain, Wednesday morning Bangkok time here. And it's the clash of European football, right? France with Mbappé, Dembélé, Olise, Doué, and Barcola in attack, and Spain with Yamal, Olmo, Petri, Rodri, Oyarzabal. Both teams are the best organized, best coached, most talented sides in the tournament. My read here is that France are the toughest opponent Spain will have faced. Spain are the toughest opponent France will have faced. The match, I think, will be pretty tight. Vegas has France at 49%, at 40.9%, Spain at 29.8%, draw at 29.3%, which means Vegas thinks France are favored. But I still think this is pretty close. I still pick Spain, and here's why. Spain has done everything a tournament team is supposed to do. 6 clean sheets in 6 matches, the 1 goal against Belgium, but a win. They control every match. And Yamal, how old is he now? 18, one of the 3 best players on the planet. Petri and Rodri run the midfield the way midfielders, I think, are supposed to be run. Not as great yet during this tournament. Yeah, but they're still very patient, very technical, and waiting for the right moment. And they're not playing as well as they play in their teams just yet. But I still think they're just building up to this right now. France have, of course, Mbappé, who's the best individual attacker in the tournament again. But France also have gaps in midfield when their transitions aren't working. And I think Spain will not let them transition. Yeah, when you look at also how they're defending, sure, they're all trying to press, but very often, especially the offensive players in France, they rely on their individual strengths. And I think that's where Spain's more disciplined approach might come in handy. So my prediction would be Spain, France 1-0, or maybe Spain 2, France 1 after extra time. Merino comes off the bench and scores again, definitely. Or maybe Yamal does actually do something crazy this time, because he's playing well, but not crazy well as of now. What else do we have? We have England versus Argentina, of course, on Thursday morning here in Bangkok. Bellingham versus Messi, 2 of the best players in the world right now at different stages of their careers, of course. When we look at Vegas, England is at 36.9%, Argentina at 31.6%. Rest is for draw, which means Vegas has England slightly favored, which is unusual, right? Argentina were 4-1 pre-tournament and are now the underdogs in a semi-final. That's the market saying England have looked better and Argentina have looked more brittle. And I mean, it's understandable because Argentina in the tournament, they have needed dramatic comebacks in each of the last 3 matches. Cabo Verde 3-2, Egypt 3-2 down from 2-0 down. Switzerland 3-1 in extra time. That's a team getting older, playing on will and, well, Messi's brilliance and Álvarez late strikes. It's not a team that dominates. It's a team that survives. That's what makes them dangerous, though, right? England, meanwhile, have looked slightly wrecked in the last, but have kept winning. Yeah, Bellingham has scored in 3 straight matches. Kane before losing his voice, was leading in tournaments and shots. Tuchel's the tiding of his team is either genuine tactical concern or it's psychological warfare on his own players. Let's see. Either way, England are advancing. I hate the saying, if not now, when then? But for England, it kind of feels like if not now, when, then when? England 2, Argentina 1. I was thinking Bellingham scores, Messi has a moment, but England's youth beats Argentina's age. And if this happens, England beating Argentina in a World Cup semi-final in North America, well, wouldn't it be a moment? So the final I want to see is Spain versus England, Yamal versus Bellingham. Two teams, I think, that are built the right way. Best technical teams in the world against each other. Maybe the best or the most disciplined teams against the best young attacking team in the world. That's the final the World Cup deserves. My call for the whole tournament, I'm still sticking to my Spain pick. If it's England in the final, they beat Argentina to get there and lose to Spain in the final. If it's Argentina in the final, if they somehow get there, Messi could have one more moment and maybe lift another trophy, but I don't think we're gonna see that. Spain's gonna lift the trophy in New Jersey. That's my final pre-semi call. All right, let's wrap this up. Very quick wrap. Semifinals, I said, France, Spain, England, Argentina. First time in World Cup history, the 4 semifinalists are the top 4 ranked teams in the world. Well planned, FIFA. No lucky coincidence. There are no shocks left in this bracket, right? Every match from here is legit, at least in the semifinal. The penalty stat, never shoot first, 15% win rate for teams going first in the last 13 World Cup shootouts, 4 for 4 losses at this tournament. Coaches, adjust. Bellingham versus Messi on Wednesday, Yamal versus Mbappé on Tuesday. If you're planning your week, plan around those 2 matches. They're the only football that matters this week, obviously. Besides the one that happened 2 days ago, I think 2 days ago, because 2 days ago, Dani Rojas made his professional football debut in college football in the US. He came on in the 70-something minutes, 77th or something, got a yellow card after 4 minutes, and they conceded 2 goals. Not related to this. Football is life. Dani Rojas, you do your thing. I am very much looking forward to seeing how he's doing playing professional football. Okay, next episode, we'll know the finalists. Actually, no, the next episode will be right after the final. So we know who won. And so we'll spend a whole episode looking at what happened in the semis and in the final, and what has this tournament taught us, good and bad, of course. If this was worth your time, subscribe. If it wasn't, also subscribe, because the number still helps. If anything was wrong, please let me know. We're heading into the sharp end right now. I hope you all enjoy the semis and the final. Tactic back after the final. Thanks for listening. See you then.